Hey, welcome everybody, and my apologies for the delay here, but thank you again for joining us today as we kick off the first Top Rank on ESPN non-Las Vegas bubble show of 2021. We're all very excited about getting back on the road, and here with an excellent main event, one that is a long time in the making. In the main event, we have the vacant WBO light heavyweight world title bout, a bout with significant implications as we move forward in 2021 between Joe the Beast Smith Jr. and Maxim Vlasov, a fight that was postponed from February after Max contracted COVID-19, but he is back, he is fully recovered, and he is ready to go Saturday evening. And we have an excellent heavyweight co-feature, Efe Ajagba, undefeated Nigerian puncher, 6'6", 85-inch reach, has all the looks of a future heavyweight champion. He is going to be making his second Top Rank appearance against a very, very tough opponent in Brian Howard, a big puncher. And those two fights will air on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus at 10 p.m. Eastern. We have a big stacked undercard starting at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus, featuring the likes of Jared, the real Big Baby Anderson, Albert Bell, Robson Consecao, a 2016 Olympic gold medalist, Duke Reagan, Tulsa natives Jeremiah Milton and Trey Lippy Morrison, Sonny Kanto, and Troy Isley all are going to be in action here on Saturday night. So yes, a big, busy night of action. And before we get to the fighters, we're going to kick it off to the president of Top Rank, Todd DeBuff. Todd, are you there? Oh, we will once Todd arrives, we will get a word. We will get a word from Todd DeBuff. So hold on, Efe is joining us right now. So just give us 1 second, and we will kick things off with Efe Ajagba. Efe, are you there, sir?
Hello, I can't.
Yes,
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Efe? No, Efe cannot hear me. Hold on 1 second, guys. The parallel Zoom calls are the technical difficulties. So give us 1 second. Wait for Efe to hear me. And then we will get that sorted.
That's why I said you should do it your phone. The last time we used your phone.
No, they said they're having some issues on it. They're working on it.
Efe, can you hear me? No, we're no. Efe, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, take it
Apologies,
easy.
guys. Give us 1 minute, okay? We're just going to make sure Efe's audio is working. and that in the background, that is Efe's biggest #1 fan in the background right there. He's at the star of Efe Ajagba's Instagram account, his adorable young son. Efe, can you hear us? Hold on, I think we're getting this fixed right now. Efe, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, Efe, welcome. Thank you for joining us today, Efe.
Can you hold on? Let me put on earphone.
Yes, 1 second. 1 second. Can you hear us, Efe?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect. Thank you, guys, and thank you for bearing with us. A little technical difficulties on the Zoom. You will be able to take footage of this press conference from the Top Rank YouTube channel after, so feel free to do so. Joining us on the line right now is the president, right before we get to Efe, is the president of Top Rank, Todd DeBuff. Todd, welcome today. Can you talk a little bit about two things, both how important it was for Top Rank and ESPN to get the main event, the main event between Smith and Vlasov rescheduled so soon, and what you've seen in Efe Ajagba and how you feel like Efe is going to fit into that heavyweight picture moving forward.
Well, thanks, Evan, and I appreciate everybody for showing up this morning. You know, we're all dealing with the uncertainties of COVID issues, and we're all dealing with it. And we kind of got nipped in the bud early on this year, where we felt like we dodged a lot of bullets last year. So the importance really is for the fighters, right? For the fighters to get back on track and not miss too much time. So when we were able to slot this in and find a good home for it and get this back on the books right away, there's a lot of opportunity in the light heavyweights. Obviously, we saw Beterbiev successful defense. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago from Russia? We wanted to be on that pace to get everybody back in action and then make these big fights happen. So listen, everybody worked quickly, everybody worked diligently, and this is going to be really from the U.S. our first bout outside the bubble too. So moving into Tulsa is going to be it's kind of like a breath of fresh air for some people because we're so used to the bubble. On FA, you're dealing with a absolute, wonderful prospect that has got incredible power, has taken a lot, people rate him as one of the top prospects in the heavyweight division. And I think he was off for a bit last time, and we wanted to keep him back going. The division is loaded, as we know, but there's a few elite guys, and we think FA is one of those elite guys. And we think he's proven it over, since he came onto the scene. And I think now it's time to step it up, and he's going to be knocking on some big heavyweight doors. So very exciting times for heavyweights, and especially young prospects like FA.
Thank you, Todd, and thank you, FA. You made your debut at Top Rank last September. Tough fight against Jonathan Rice. How's been sort of that time off, and what are you looking to prove, and what are you looking to show the fans against Brian Howard on Saturday night?
In my last fight against Jonathan Rice, I was not prepared enough way. Just prepared for 2 months for that fight, so I was not fully prepared in that fight. So just got into a new contract. So, but now I'm fully prepared for Brian Howard this Saturday night. So I have what it takes to win that fight because so I'm very fully prepared in that fight. So I've been with Coach Kerr, training so hard to get to that fight.
Thank you, FA. And a reminder, everybody who wants to ask a question, please raise your hand in the chat queue, and you'll be able to ask a question. And unfortunately, it looks like we were sold out at the Osage Casino here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I guess absence makes the heart grow fonder because the fans in Oklahoma snapped up tickets rather quickly for this event. So now we are going to go to the questions, and we are going to kick things off with Jake Donovan from BoxingScene.com. Jake, please go ahead.
Great, thanks, Evan. FA, welcome back to the ring. I wanted to ask, you said last time you didn't have a lot of time to prepare for your fight. Just how much more have you been able to grow with K. Karoma, and what do you feel is different about this camp than going into your last fight?
Yeah, this camp is different from the old camp, So being with Coach Kerr is a good learning process, So There are some things I don't know that Coach K is teaching me. Coach K is teaching me a lot of stuff that I don't know, so which is good for me on my boxing foundation and my hand combination punches, so those are the things that Coach K is trying to teach me, to put everything together on me to get to the fight.
Okay, and then without giving away your game plan, how much better do you think Brian Howard matches up with you stylistically than your last fight?
I think Howard is not. It's not in my, like what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is it's not in my position on that fight. So I'm going to use that fight to step up to see my performance, because I got into a new contract. So I need to prove myself. So in my last fight, so I was not improving enough. So, but this Saturday night is going to be more like, you want to see more of Ifya Jaguar, more head movement and combination punches, so all this stuff, my footwork, I want to put everything together against him and bring our hard one.
Okay, great. Thanks, Hefe. Good to have you back. Looking forward to seeing you Saturday night.
Thank you, Jake. And yes, so as I mentioned, please use the raise hand button on your feed, and we will get to questions. But before we get to another question, Fa, what do you know about Brian Howard? I think we all saw him with a big knockout over Carlos Negron relatively recently. Is his power something that you are looking in your game plan? Is his power something you are aware of in game planning against?
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything like good day to say I'm going to knock him out. So it's just, I'm going to go there to do my job, to get my job done. So everything I train in the gym, I'm going to put everything in the fight. So I'm going to start with the job, my footwork, head movement. That's all.
All right. Now, and you're a guy who was knocking people out very quickly throughout your career. Especially we all know about your famous 1 second fight, which wasn't a knockout, but you hold the record for the victory of the shortest bout in boxing history. But how helpful was it for you and for your team to go 10 rounds against Jonathan Rice in your last fight? And can you talk about the experience of going the distance and how that helped you moving forward?
Like I said earlier before, I was not fully prepared in that fight. Just 2 months in my last fight against Jonathan Rice, so I was not fully prepared. So I would try to do a lot of stuff, a lot of things in my head. So, but right now, I'm very 100% focused, in that fight. So against Jonathan Rice, so I was not fully prepared in that fight. So that's why I went to distance with him.
Okay, and now we're going to open up the questions to Alan Alford. Alan, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
How you doing, Mr. Jabe? Thank you for being with us. Yes, my question to you would be, being that you're from Texas and you come from a state that's known for boxers, what does it mean to you to come from a state like Texas, you have Errol Spence, yourself, and represent Texas?
Yeah, since I came from Nigeria, so I came to Texas. I have a lot of Africans in Texas. Okay. Like Russian stores, African Russian stores. There are some African restaurants in Texas, so which is very good for me. We have a lot of African community in Texas, so it's a good place for me to stay. So when I go from Nigeria to America, I first land to Texas. So I've not been anywhere. I've not stayed anywhere apart from Texas.
So it feels like home for you.
Yeah, it feels like home for me. So it's like I said before, we have a lot of Africans community around us in Texas. So it's good. It's a place for me to live because we have a lot of people, African people here, live in Texas. So I'll be here for 3 years and 4 months.
Wow. So you're doing already well, meeting a lot of Africans. So it feels like home, good home cooking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Alan. And we will next go to the next question from Boxing Voice. John, Devin Turble. I totally butchered your name, John, but please unmute, accept my apologies, and unmute yourself and ask your question when ready, sir.
You were close. We'll give you that.
I was close. I'm sure I wasn't close, but I appreciate you being nice and not making me feel so bad for butchering your name. John, please go ahead when ready, sir.
No problem. Hey, FA, hope you're doing well. Just a quick question from me regarding your record so far. Most of your fights have come by way of knockout, so you've got a fantastic pedigree there. Do you think there is a bit more pressure with a fighter with so many knockouts so early on in his career?
It's just like I said before, the knockout. Like I'll be knocking people out in my first fight to the last fight. So I'll be fighting a lot of guys that have experience. They know some guys, some fighter who has experience. They washing my right hand because they know I have a powerful right hand. They try to avoid the right hand. So that's why everybody don't want to stay in my front to fight. They just keep running. So that's the only way to survive.
Yep. And in regards to Jonathan Rice, your last sort of outing, which was in 2019 in September. What have you been doing, keeping active and staying positive during the pandemic?
During the pandemic, I think during the pandemic I didn't fight. So so after the COVID-19, everything that's my last fight for September. That was my last fight after the COVID-19. So it's been long. So I'll be training during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'll be training, so but not in the gym, just outside in the gym and in my apartment, neighborhood gym. That there is a gym there. You go there and do some training. So that's what I'll be doing in the COVID-19 pandemic. So I'll be training all along, so it's crazy,
Thank you, John. And we have one final question for FA. Carlos Toro, please go ahead, ask your question when ready, sir.
Hi, FA. Thanks so much for taking time to talk to us. Last year, obviously, because of the pandemic, you only got to fight twice, and you've been someone who's been very active prior to last year. What was the biggest takeaway that you got from those two fights last year, and what do you hope to sort of achieve this year in 2021? Is it to be a lot more active or get to a certain level of opposition? What do you hope to achieve for this year?
I think right now I'm being in a new promotional contract, so they try to slow me down a little bit to be active, so this Saturday night I'm going to prove myself. Everything I work on in the gym, I'm going to show it in my fight, so I'm going to stay active, to make sure I step into the big fight, so that's the only way to get to the big fight, where you stay active. That's it.
Thank you very much, Carlos, and thank you, FA. Our apologies for the technical difficulties. Is there anything you would like to say to the fans out there as you approach Saturday night?
Yeah, I just want my fans to wish me good luck in my fight, because I train for this fight. I train so hard for this fight, so I want them to wish me all the best in my last fight. So that's it.
Thank you so much, FA, and he'll be on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and ESPN Deportes, top of the hour, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, against Brian Howard. So make sure you catch that. FA, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you in Oklahoma, sir. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Very much. Thank you. All right, and now, as FA logs off, we go to the man who is no stranger to pulling off a heavyweight upset, Brian Howard, joining us on the call. Brian, how are you doing, sir?
How you doing, my man?
Well, hey, do you have your video? Do you have your video on? Do you want to put that video on, Brian? I think the media wants to get a look at you. If you can.
I believe it's on.
It's a black screen. This is Brian Howard, and now we see Brian Howard joining us.
Cut that off. Something in your success by now. Cut that off.
Brian, I don't know, Brian, you hanging up sheetrock or something? I don't know what's going on in the background.
I'm in my gym.
Oh,
I'm in
over
my-
there. No. But thank you again, Brian, for joining us today. Can you sort of talk about where you were and what was going on when you got this call to fight F.A. Ajagba and coming off your last fight against Frank Sanchez? How quickly did you jump at that opportunity?
We're always training, man. So we try to stay ready for whatever opportunity comes our way, and we try to make the best of it every time out.
And can you talk about you're a guy that, as we mentioned on the call, no stranger pulling off the heavyweight upset, no stranger coming in as the quote unquote B-side against that undefeated prospect. Can you talk about the confidence you have knowing that, listen, against a guy like Carlos Negron, you put him out in a round, you've done it before. Can you talk about the confidence that a win like that can give you as you head into a fight against a guy like F.A. Ajagba?
Oh man, it gives me great confidence knowing that I could step up to the heavyweight division and punch with the big guys. So it was a challenge, but that was what motivated me.
And as I said, guys, please, you can ask questions, raise your hand in the chat. If you cannot figure that out, send me a private message in the Zoom chat, and I will get you in the queue and you get your questions asked as soon as possible. Jake Donovan, please. Jake, I think Jake just left it. Jake was going to ask a question, and then, there he is. Jake Donovan, raise hand. Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Great. Thank you very much, Evan. Brian, welcome back to the ring. I know it's getting that win over Carlos Negron, my wife's cousin-in-law, for the record. So I was a little upset when you got that win, but how frustrating was it for you that you actually didn't get to cash in on that opportunity?
The Frank Sanchez opportunities, that's what you're speaking about?
I don't know. When you knocked out Carlos Negron, that you had to sit out for more than a year after that.
Oh man, that was the most frustrating part. Coming in, beating a guy that they picked to beat me. Ex-Olympian. It was a good opportunity. I made the best I could of the opportunity. That night at the Barclays Center, it was great ambiance. But having to sit out for so long and not be able to keep moving, that was real frustrating. It was real challenging.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that night we finally got to see the best of what you had to offer. I've been following you for a very long time, and that was like the first night when we got to see like your full potential. Do you feel like people kind of got a false sense of like you going into the Frank Sanchez, like they feel like maybe okay, this is the guy that's going to show up in April, and not the guy that knocked out Carlos Negron?
Ask that question again.
I'm sorry, I'm going to try to rephrase it. Do you feel like people got a false sense of what you're about from your last fight with Frank Sanchez, and not really that the guy who knocked out Carlos Negron is what you're really about?
Nah, they didn't. To know, I don't want to take anything away from Frank, but Frank was a good guy. But I went into that fight with an injury. I had broke my finger on my jab hand, so I couldn't get any rhythm with my jab. But they had a great game plan, and he capitalized off of it. But and I'm not gonna fall back on the injury because I could have said I could have not taken the fight. But it was some people that they was behind me, so they pushed hard for me to get the opportunity. So I just didn't want to disappoint anybody. But as
my final question.
But that's it. But as far as your question, they didn't get to see. They didn't get to see the full spectrum of Brian Howard. Because I got I've come pretty much full circle with my fight game. My footwork has gotten better. My defense is way better than what it was in that fight. So and plus, and my hand speed is. I honestly, I think the only heavyweight that could probably match my hand speed would probably be Andy Ruiz.
Jake, you have one more question, or you good?
Hello, can you hear me?
Jake?
I'm good. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, you're good. Thank you very much, Jake. Now we go ahead to Alan Alford, who has his hand raised. Alan, please go ahead when ready.
Yes, Mr. Howard, thank you for joining with us today. And oh, you're welcome. And my question to you would be, with the fight that you have coming up, you're fighting a Ajagba who's not a joke. So fans that care about you and fans that are looking out for you, what can you say to them that are worried about you in this fight?
They don't need to be worried about me in a fight, man. This is boxing. You either it's all part of the job, you know. So I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be fine. I just want them to wish me the best, you know, and root for me, win, lose, or draw.
And Brian, you know, obviously you're, you know, no mistake, you're coming in as the underdog, but you know, did you expect to get, obviously you mentioned there were some things in the Frank Sanchez fight that you didn't go in 100%, but the result was a result. Did you expect to get an opportunity like this so soon after the fight, or did this come as a bit of a surprise for you?
Yes, it was a bit of a surprise. We had been trying to fight a Jogba early on last year, but he kept turning the fight down for whatever reason. So yes, it was a surprise that they even, you know, called me with the opportunity and the offer.
You claim that they turn you down. Why do you think? I mean, obviously that's more of a question for FA, but why do you think they thought the time was right to face you right now?
Honestly, I think it was the Frank Sanchez loss, to be honest.
So they saw something, and you're trying to prove that what they saw they didn't really see. Is that what you're saying, Brian?
Absolutely.
We're going to keep going to the questions. Carlos Toro, please unmute yourself and ask your question when ready.
Hey, Brian, thanks so much for taking time to talk to us. You know, heading into this fight, obviously you have you're no stranger to coming off of losses and knocking out guys in the very first round. I mean, talk to me about the level of confidence that, you know, and ability in yourself to be able to sort of bounce back from those losses and pull off upsets like the one that you had against Carlos Negron. Do you kind of find yourself in a similar type of situation as you did when you fought Carlos?
Say that again now.
Let me rephrase the question. Do you feel that, you know, confidence-wise and mentality, do you feel that you're sort of in a similar situation where you have to prove to a lot of people that you're still a heavyweight to be feared when you first fought Carlos Negron coming out of the loss a couple of years ago?
Yes, I do. I have absolutely no problem bouncing back from losses. I take my losses just like I take my wins, and I actually learn more from my losses than I do from my wins. So and we go back to the drawing board with every loss, and we work on, you know, what the mistakes that were made, and we fix and we improve and we move forward. But my mentality is my mentality. It's not going to change. I'm never going to doubt myself because I take a loss, whether it be knockout, whether it be stoppage, or whether I lose by decision. My confidence is going to always be up.
Well, thank you, Carlos, and thank you, Brian, for joining us today. We've got Maxim Vlasov on the line, so we're gonna get to the to one half of the main event. But Brian, before you go, any final words you'd like to say to the fans, to the media, as you approach the biggest test of your career Saturday night?
I just want everybody to wish me luck, my man. That's about it. Just wish me luck, you know. Root for me, stay on my side. Give me, even though the stadium is probably going to be, you know, no fans there, but I want to feed off everybody's energy and put forth my best effort.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Brian, and best luck Saturday night. We will see you in Tulsa. Thank you.
Thank you.
And yes, to clarify, there will be some fans in attendance, about 800 or so, give or take. So there will be a crowd in attendance Saturday night. So so they'll be making some noise. And now we have the light heavyweight contender Maxim Vlasov on the line, along with Natalia, who will translate for Max. So ask your questions. So please give her time to translate. Maxim, welcome.
Hello. Максим, привет, добро пожаловать.
Maxim, can you talk about, you know, how excited you are to get this opportunity so soon after the positive COVID test in February postponed the fight?
Максим, можешь ты нам рассказать о том, насколько ты был счастлив получить эту возможность опять выйти на ринг так быстро после того, как в прошлый раз в феврале тест на коронавирус отложил этот бой?
Конечно, я ждал этот бой еще в феврале и был реально взволнован этим событием. И когда мне обнаружили коронавирус. Ну, естественно, это было шоком, серьезным потрясением для меня, потому что я был в прекрасной форме тогда и был, ну, заряжен, как говорится, заряжен на победу. Вот. И единственное, что отличает данный момент, данную готовность к бою, это то, что немножко со сроками нас ввели в заблуждение, и было сложнее, так сказать, в такие короткие сроки подойти в хорошей форме. Но мы с этим справились, и сейчас я также в отличной форме и готов к этому бою.
Yes, of course. Back in February, I was very excited about this fight. So I was shocked and I was overwhelmed by the news that it was canceled, like postponed. And I was in excellent shape. I was very much ready and I was sort of charged to win. And this time it's harder because I've had like less time to prepare, and it was like a very short time for me to prepare, but we got it. So we have made progress and everything what I need to win this fight.
Thank you very much, Max. And again, everybody who wants to ask a question, please use the raise hand button in the queue, or send me a private message in the chat, and we will get you going as soon as possible. Jake Donovan, please lead us off here with Maxim Vlasov. Unmute yourself.
There we go. Sorry about that. Thanks, Evan. Max, welcome back to the ring. I wanted to know, what was the most difficult part for you in having to recover from the COVID, more so than the shorter training camp going into this fight?
Макс, привет, добро пожаловать назад на ринг. Я хотела тебя спросить, что было для тебя самым сложным, когда тебе пришлось восстанавливать свое здоровье после диагноза COVID? Что было наиболее таким вызовом для тебя?
Знаете, мне не пришлось восстанавливаться после COVID, потому что абсолютно никаких симптомов у меня не было. И, в принципе, я так думаю, что именно в тот момент никакого ковида у меня нет. Возможно, были какие-то следы прошлой бессимптомной болезни, но именно в тот момент я чувствовал себя абсолютно здоровым и был готов к бою на 100%. Просто тест показал наличие этого вируса, и бой отменили. Но самое сложное было это, в первую очередь, наверное, вот этот, так скажем, простой компенсировать, который создался в связи с карантином 10-дневным, в котором я находился в Лас-Вегасе. Потом был перелет домой, акклиматизация. То есть именно все было связано именно с моментами вне тренировочного процесса. Перелеты, акклиматизация и восстановление именно после этих событий всех.
Actually, I did not have to recover after I was diagnosed with COVID-19 because I think that I did not have COVID because I felt excellent. I felt wonderful and ready. It's just the test. I tested positive, and the test showed presence of that virus, so I did not have to battle it indeed. So I guess the harder thing was to compensate for that time lost because of the mandatory quarantine in Las Vegas, that I had to stay 10 days in Las Vegas, and then I had to fly back home and then go through the climate change and again, so I have to fly back, such kind of things, but it doesn't have anything to do with the training or with the virus because I have felt excellent.
Okay, great. And then my final question is, a lot of plans already being made for Beterbiev to fight Joe Smith. They're acting as if this fight is a foregone conclusion. Without giving away a game plan, what do you plan to do to disrupt those plans?
Значит, еще, вы знаете, что уже они наперед сделали планы устроить бой между Артуром Бетербиевым и Джо Смитом за чемпионский пояс. Как бы, да, это все очень преждевременно. Что вы можете сделать для того, чтобы разрушить эти преждевременные планы?
Я могу делать только свою работу и делать ее на отлично. Поэтому я все-таки планирую все эти планы разрушить в эту субботу.
All I can do is just to do my job and to do it to do the best what I can, and I do plan to destroy those plans next Saturday.
Thank you, Jake. And now we go to John D from the Boxing Voice. John, I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name again. John, please unmute yourself and go ahead when ready.
Here's Evan, thank you. Maxim, first of all, welcome. Just a quick one from me. In regards to your previous opponents, you fought Glowacki, Chalemba, Ramirez. How much do you rate Joe Smith Jr. in those list of opponents that you faced so far?
Теперь вопрос к тебе, пожалуйста, Максим. Среди твоих прежних оппонентов, с которыми ты дрался с Галаки, с Челембой, с Рамирец, скажи, как ты мог бы вообще оценить Джо Смит Джуниор в сравнении с теми бойцами, с которыми ты уже дрался?
Здесь можно сказать, что все перечисленные соперники разные абсолютно. И сравнивать, допустим, Смита с кем-то из тех, кого перечислили, очень сложно, потому что он совершенно другой боксер, с другой техникой, с другой тактикой. Вот. И, и каждому сопернику нужны, так скажем, свой подход в бой, своя тактика и своя техника. Поэтому он, естественно, он очень сильный боксер и находится на очень высоком уровне, но при этом я знаю, что у меня есть возможности для победы.
I cannot compare my opponents because all of them are very different. They have different techniques, boxing techniques, different boxing tactics that they apply. So I cannot compare those, and I know that every opponent and fighter needs. So I need to apply a unique, personalized technique. But I know that Joe Smith Jr. is a strong boxer, but I know that I do have opportunity to outbox him.
Thank you. And I think a lot of the media and fans out there would interested in your opinion here, Max. Did you watch Beterbiev's fight against Adam Dinas? And if so, what did you think of Beterbiev's performance?
Значит, Максим, очень многим здесь интересно твое мнение. Скажи, пожалуйста, смотрел ли ты бой предыдущий между Артуром Бетербиевым и Дайнесом? Скажи, если да, какое твое мнение? Что ты думаешь по поводу именно того, как себя показал Артур Бетербиев?
Что я увидел, это то, что очень длинный простой в поединках сказался на уровне выступления Артура. И, опять же, это связано еще и с возрастом. В таком возрасте абсолютно, нельзя точно делать такие большие перерывы, потому что, ты должен постоянно быть в форме. Если ты делаешь большие перерывы, ты ржавеешь. А в таком возрасте это происходит еще гораздо быстрее. И, я увидел, что, естественно, это был, не лучшее выступление, так скажем. И, опять же, и соперник был не самый сильный, даже, я бы сказал, самый слабый из всех сильных. Как вам объяснить? Я думаю, что это был нужный бой для него, чтобы вкатиться, так скажем, в свою форму, войти в свою форму и уже дальше готовиться к более серьезным выступлениям и показывать более лучшие бои.
Yes, well, I can say this. There was a factor of large time break between the fights that Artur Beterbiev has gone through. And it's unacceptable because there is such thing as a ring rust. And it also relative to age of the fight, age matters. And when you age, you can't have a break. You have to have fights over and over, and because the rust would show itself eventually. So, and I would say that Artur Beterbiev did not show his best performance at all. And taking into account the fact also that his opponent wasn't the strongest one, I would say he was the strongest among the weakest. I don't know how to say this, but it wasn't a strong challenge for Artur Beterbiev. However, he needed that fight, that bout to tune up, to get in shape, and now he can continue preparing for more challenging fights in the future.
Thank you. And now next we go to Crystal Hart. Crystal, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Okay. My question is, Maxim, last time on the last press conference, you described Joe Smith Jr. as predictable. Do you still feel that way, or your thoughts on Joe Smith Jr.?
Максим, такой вопрос. Помнишь, в прошлый раз во время предыдущей пресс-конференции ты описал Джо Смит Джуниор как бойца, которого легко предсказать. Скажи, ты сейчас чувствуешь примерно то же самое в его отношении, либо, может быть, что-то поменялось? Что ты можешь сказать?
Нет, абсолютно ничего не поменялось. И я также практически уверен, что и Джо Смит вряд ли что-то поменял в своей технике и в своей тактике. За такой короткий срок это очень сложно. И особенно в тяжелых боях ты будешь делать только то, что ты делал всю жизнь, всю свою карьеру. Поэтому даже если он попытался внести какие-то корректировки в свою технику, в свою тактику, то вряд ли они будут работать в этом бою. Очень маленький срок для того, чтобы вот эти навыки укрепились у него. Поэтому да, я думаю абсолютно так же, как и в прошлый раз.
I think that nothing has changed. In fact, I don't think that Joe Smith Jr. Has changed something or anything in his boxing tactics or his boxing technical skills. And I also think that even if he has, if a fight is hard and if it's close fight, you will eventually follow the techniques and all the experience that you have gained up to the moment through your lifetime as a boxer. So even if he has gotten some new skills, I don't think for such a short time he can show something new or kind of just expose anything else, and there will be a close fight.
And Max, before you go, is there anything you would like to say to your fans and to the media as you approach Saturday night's world title fight?
Значит, Макс, еще скажи, может, есть что-то, что ты хочешь сказать своим друзьям, либо, значит, журналистам по поводу боя, который тебе предстоит в субботу, вот сейчас, до того еще этого момента, пока он не наступил?
Конечно. Хочу в первую очередь поблагодарить всех своих фанатов, которые верят в меня. Спасибо вам огромное, хотя я знаю, что особенно здесь, в Америке, не так много людей верят в мою победу, и все в основном делают ставки на Джо Смита, но я постараюсь, конечно же, этих людей удивить, кого-то расстроить, наверное, и постараюсь показать свой лучший бокс в этом бою, потому что это действительно очень серьезный шанс для меня и серьезная возможность забраться на самый верх.
Yes, first, of course, I would like to say something. I would like to express my gratitude, to thank my fans who believe in me. And I understand indeed that here in the United States, not everybody believes that I'm going to win. And a lot of people, they make stakes for Joe Smith Jr.'s victory. However, I will do my best to surprise everybody, and I will surprise a lot of people, or I might upset some people. But anyways, I will show my best skills, my best boxing, because this is a very serious and great opportunity for me to fight for the championship, and I will do my best.
Well, thank you so much, Max. Thank you, Natalia. And yes, as he will be going for his first world title Saturday night from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Again, it's going to be a sold out crowd at the Osage Casino, socially distanced crowd of about 800 or so. And if anybody knows the fans in Oklahoma from our days promoting Alex Saucedo, you know they are some of the loudest fans, loudest fans in the country. So we look forward to everybody watching at ESPN Plus. And ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus. And for those who can make it in attendance, you are quite lucky. So yes, so now we have the other half of the main event, Joe Smith Jr. on the line. And also before we get to the pride of Long Island from about 45 minutes east of where I grew up, on the south, he's from the South Shore of Long Island, I believe. But now we have the CEO of Star Boxing, Mr. Joe DeGuardia, joining us on the line. Joe, are you there?
I'm here, Evan. How are you?
Joe, I should say Joe D and Joe S because then I don't want both of you chiming in at the same time. But Joe, when we were, and I like the background, Joe. That is good, great product placement, Joe D. I respect that. But no, Joe, when we were on here a couple months ago, I asked you. You've been promoting Joe since pretty much the beginning. You built him up on Long Island on those Paramount Theater shows that sell out every time over there in Huntington. And we talked about the journey that you've been on with Joe Smith to get there and how much this opportunity meant. And then about 36 hours before the fight was supposed to happen, we see you down in the conference center and the rug is sort of pulled out from under you guys. How was the team able to regroup following just such a heartbreaking turn of events?
Well, look, Evan, it certainly was a heartbreaking time out there. We were all pumped up and excited. If you ever see The Wizard of Oz and they're about to get into the balloon to go back, right? And then the balloon takes off without her. But for us, it was like that balloon got deflated. You're ready. You're looking to fight. You're excited. That world championship right on the cusp. And, the air comes out of the balloon. So it was hard. It's a tough situation. It's a tough thing to go through. But look, Joe's a fighter. This is a fight game. It's a tough game. And you got to be mentally and physically strong. And Joe's been over the past couple of weeks, blowing that balloon up again and excited and ready to get that world championship. That's his goal. And we got to stay focused on that goal. And, that's been the process, so to speak. So yes, it was tough. It was hard, but it was a rough experience. But we're pleased. Look, right now, here we are, and this Saturday, a short time later, a lot of props to ESPN. They got that date cleared, Top Rank, and we were able to get back into this ring. And that's what we're looking forward to. We're looking forward to Saturday because the goal is that world championship, and that goal's here now.
Joe Smith joining us. Joe, how you doing?
I'm feeling great. It's fight week.
So fight week once again, fight week number 2. The ESPN the Top Rank Blood, Sweat, and Tears cameras caught the moment when you found out that the fight was being postponed. I believe it was Friday morning, maybe a couple hours before the weigh-in, and obviously the heartbreak and the disappointment was evident. On your face, you're trying to figure out, is there any way the fight can happen? And Brad Jacobs was trying to explain to you, like, no, and obviously everybody understood sort of your emotions and what you were going through then. So the question I posed for Joe DeGuardia, I sort of posed for you is, following that disappointment, you were planning a big wedding and a honeymoon and all this stuff. And obviously the money of a world title fight comes in handy. I mean, how were you able to get over that? I can't even imagine. I can't imagine going through something like that. How were you able to regroup?
Well, honestly, I'm not over it. What's going to happen is just, I trained harder, and I'm just very focused to get in there and finally get this win and get it behind me. It was a long time coming, and I'm just excited to have a shot at a world championship, and it being so. It came up quick, so it wasn't, it was at the right amount of time.
and a lot of people have compared this to Rocky IV. Obviously, the blue collar guy against the Russian, and Rocky IV. Stallone had that big beard. Are you trying to channel that? Are we bringing this beard into the ring Saturday night? Or are we going with a trim before the fight?
I just been doing everything I can to make sure I didn't catch COVID. So I've been avoiding the barber shop. So I'm gonna go get a trim though today after this, and start packing my bags and get ready.
Yeah, no, it's good. Hopefully on Long Island there's a barber wearing a hazmat suit. I think that's the one safe way for you to get a trim. But we're gonna go to the questions here. Again, to ask a question for either Joe Smith or Joe DeGuardia, raise hand. If you can't figure that out, send me a private message in the chat chat feature, and we will get you guys in the queue. So Jake Donovan, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Great. Thank you very much, Evan. Joe, I had the pleasure of interviewing you last week, so I won't waste everyone's time. I did want to ask, with Jamel Herring's big win over the weekend, do you feel like any more motivation to kind of proudly represent Long Island and bring that world title home?
Yeah, man, I'm really gonna get out there and give it 100%, and I hope to bring that world title home and put on a great show like Jamel Herring did.
Okay, great. And then for Joe DeGuardia, I have a question. I actually just posed this on Twitter. I said, if Joe wins on Saturday, Joe fights Artur Beterbiev and Jamel Herring fights Oscar Valdez at the old Nassau Coliseum, NYCB Live. What do you think about those plans?
Well, look, they're great plans, and love to see it in Long Island. But right now, we got to stay focused on Saturday. We don't know how Nassau is going to be with COVID and everything, and open up to fans, but certainly that would sell out for sure.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Joe Smith. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, Jake. Appreciate that. We're going to go back to the chat queue with John D. John D, please unmute yourself.
Hey, Joe. Considering Maxim's been inactive for approximately 18 months, how do you think that will fare in the fight? Do you think that will give you more of an advantage on Saturday night?
Although he hasn't been active, on television or in the ring, I'm sure he's been training and preparing, for his next fight. So, I'm expecting the best of him, and, I trained my best to put on a great show and be well prepared for this. And, I plan on bringing that belt home and taking away all his plans that he has in mind.
Good stuff. And fighting on home soil as well, 800 fans, surely that will give you a bit more of a boost as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be nice hearing some fans cheering out in the crowd for us. And, I know as well, everyone's going to be watching at home, and it's just motivation to put on a great show for everyone. I love, impressing people and making them, giving them something to look forward to.
And Joe, your promoter, Joe DeGuardia, touched on it, and Maxim was asked, that there's a lot of people are already talking about a Joe Smith versus Artur Beterbiev fight, later this summer, and sort of almost discounting, Max. You're a humble sort of guy, but how do you sort of avoid letting those talks seep into your preparation and what you're planning to do? Because all the boxing fans are saying Smith versus Beterbiev, give it to me next, but as I said, you got a job at hand to do Saturday night.
Yeah, I definitely have a tough task ahead of me. I know Maxim, he's a tough, durable guy, and all the opportunities that I'm looking at right now, if I win this fight, they could be his if he wins. So I know there's a lot on the line, and I have a lot to look forward to. So, I got to get out there and give it 110% to make sure those opportunities come my way.
No, certainly. Next week, we have a question from Alan Alford. Alan, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you so much. Appreciate being with us, Joe. And I know that I watched that video you talked about the disappointment. I could definitely see that. My question to you is, did you have a preference in venue? I know that the venue got changed too. MGM or where you're going to be fighting at now? Is that a difference in your mind?
I mean, it's in Oklahoma. It's a little harder for some of my fans to get there, but you know, either way, I'm you know, I don't care where I fight. I just want to get in there, get my belt and my victory. You know, I put a lot of work into this, a lot of time and hard training. You know, and you know, I'm ready to put the belt on my shoulder or my waist.
And obviously, Joe, you know, the pandemic has a lot to do with it in terms of when New York is going to allow your number of fans that make it realistic, you know, to put an event on there. Have you thought about what, you know, it's been a couple of years since you fought back in either New York City or Long Island at this point. Have you thought about what it's going to be like for you and for those devoted fans you have to come see you again in New York when the time is right?
Oh, it's going to be amazing because I'm going to have a world championship on my shoulder. I'll be defending the belt or either unifying against Beterbiev or someone else. Who knows? But you know, it's a great feeling knowing that things are opening back up, and I'll hopefully be able to put on a great show here on Long Island.
You mentioned Long Island. It's you know, it's pretty big plot of land, but not many world champions have come from there. Obviously, it's Buddy McGirt, Chris Algieri, Jamel Herring, and I know I'm forgetting one, so my apologies. But and is there anybody in particular from your neck of the woods that you look up to from Long Island that is sort of your you know, your boxing hero, so to speak, for lack of a better term?
I mean, I look up to any fighter who gets in there, you know, gives it 100% and, you know, dedicates themselves to the sport. It's a tough sport to, you know, it's very tough to handle this and fight at this level, championship level.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions in the queue. Whoever I'm gonna take a chance here because this person logged in as iPhone. So I'm just gonna take a chance here and see who this is. So whoever is locked in as an iPhone, next time make sure you put your actual name on the thing so I know who is going to be asking the question. So iPhone, identify yourself and ask your question when ready. You are unmuted, iPhone. And now, you know, now the iPhone guy, can't even identify himself, and B,
can you hear me?
iPhone, who is this?
It's Luis Cortez, man. I thought it came up. I apologize.
Cortez, you've earned a 6-month banishment from all calls. So, so make this question to Joe Smith a good one. All right.
I'll try. How you doing, Joe?
Doing great.
Great. So my question is, after the delay, I know fighters are coming into fight week ready to peak on fight night. Everybody's talked about the mental aspect of what were you doing physically since everything got postponed, just to make sure that coming into this week now, you didn't overtrain, you didn't overextend yourself, and you're going to be able to have that peak performance that you need.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough balancing everything out, but I feel I'm going to peak at the right time. You know, after I found out I wasn't fighting, I took the week off. I had my wedding. Enjoyed my wedding, and then jumped right back into it. You know, I worked out hard for the last couple of weeks, and then the last week I just been maintaining and sharpening up all my skills.
Now, did you see when you got back into sparring? And congratulations on the wedding, by the way. But did you see when you got back into actually sparring and having preparing yourself for the live bullets coming up on Saturday? Did you see that you actually were able to just glide back into the grind of it and the process since you were already so prepared?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't really take much time off. You know, I got right back to it. Wedding that following week, and I was sparring the following week. You know, my wedding was on I was back in the ring on Tuesday, so it was not much of a layoff.
All right. Thanks for the answers, and best of luck to you on Saturday night. And Evan, I'll make sure that I get a victory over these Zoom calls and have my name next time.
Yeah, no, please do that. Please do that. But know that you're not allowed back on. Well, no, you have a lot of time to figure it out because November, Luis, you're back on. Thank you for
Fair
that,
enough.
Luis. We'll talk soon. Cheers. Next up, we got a couple more questions here for Joe Smith, and then we're gonna let him go on his way. Joshua Brewer, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hello, Joe. So I had a question regarding, so say you pick up this title, not to look past your opponent or anything, Maxim here, who will be a challenge, but is two things. Is unification your ultimate goal? And given such, say you take on the likes of Better Biev or even Bivol, for instance, what it would be your plan as far as tackling those fights, especially say you rematch Bivol, which was a good fight last time around. He was definitely fundamentally put in a lot of good work, and you were able to catch him. What would you do different this time around to ensure you get the victory?
You know, got the another shot at Bivol. You know, I think it'd definitely be a lot different this time around. I got a lot more experience. And, you know, when the first time I fought him, I was just looking for one big punch. And now I'm putting combinations together. I'm moving better. And, you know, I believe it's going to be a totally different fight. I mean, I got lucky and landed one good shot, you know, and I really hurt him there. So this time around, if I can land a few shots, what's going to happen?
Thank you for that. Next, we have Eric Alexander. Eric, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hey, Joe, how you doing? What does it mean to you to have the capability, the chance to win a world title in front of a crowd in a time where a lot of people are fighting inside of bubbles? You get the chance to fight, even though it's a small crowd, you still get the chance to fight in front of a live audience. Does that have a special meaning to you?
Yeah, it's nice to have a few, you know, few fans there and, you know, crowd. But it would have been a little different, you know, fighting in front of a sold out arena for a world championship. But I know everyone's watching around the world on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and, you know, I'm just looking forward to making my dream come true and becoming a world champion.
Thank you for that. And you know, Joe, you've had multiple world champions in your stable before Joe DeGuardia. What personally, what would this mean for you, given the journey you've been on with Joe Smith, for it to culminate Saturday night with the WBO world title?
Oh, it'd be thrilling. I mean, Joe's been great to work with. He's always, you know, that common man moniker, but really, you know, he's a warrior deep down, and he's so thrilling and exciting to watch. And some of my most exciting fights have been watching Joe. And that surprise knockout over from Farah a few years back, and everything he's been doing since then. It would be a real thrill. It's a great, it's been a great ride with Joe, and I know that we have a lot down the pike. I think the future's so bright for him, and I mean, the stars are out there for him. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward. He's really, really come a long way. He's developed tremendously physically. He's become a much, you know, he's an all-around fighter, now, and I love it. So it would be very, very rewarding, and I can't wait till Saturday night. I just love watching him fight.
And I think Joe DeGuardia speaks for, you know, obviously bias here, you know, working for Top Rank, but I think speaks for all boxing fans and media when, you know, we're talking about loving to watch Joe Smith Jr. fight. Joe, you're fine, you know, you're head for Tulsa in a day or so. Your final thoughts, anything you'd like to relay to the fans, the media, to those that have been watching you for so long?
Man, I just want to, I want to thank everybody who's going to be tuning in, and, I'm going to get it out there and give it 110%, to put on a great show for all my fans and family, friends, all the boxing fans. I plan on bringing that world title back home and, looking very good doing it.
Well, thank you, Joe DeGuardia, Joe Smith, for joining us today. Osage Casino, Saturday night, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Main event and co-main, 10 p.m. Eastern. That's ESPN, ESPN Plus, and ESPN Deportes. So you have many options to watch the fight. Undercard, 5:30 Eastern, exclusively on ESPN Plus. Jared Anderson, Albert Bell, a lot of great young prospects in action. It will be a sold-out crowd. over in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So an official press conference will be Thursday, weigh-in Friday. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and we will see you Saturday night. Thank you very much.